Gratitude as the foundation of peace begins in the unseen chambers of the mind where thoughts are born and shaped. When a person first opens their eyes to the light of morning, the heart is given a choice to see what is missing or to recognize what already is. Gratitude is not merely an emotion that drifts in by chance. It is an attitude of perception, a lens that transforms chaos into calm. The grateful person learns to accept life as it unfolds, not because every detail is perfect, but because they understand that peace cannot exist where resentment dwells. The soul that thanks rather than complains has already taken the first step toward serenity. Gratitude disarms the storm before it begins, for no heart that is truly thankful can be ruled by restlessness. When you begin to see gratitude as a discipline, not just a passing mood, something extraordinary takes place within you. The mind once crowded with worry begins to clear. The heart once heavy with longing begins to lift. The very act of acknowledging the goodness that still remains in your life pushes away the shadows of anxiety. Peace grows in the soil of awareness that even in difficulty, there are blessings hidden beneath the surface. When a person trains themselves to count what they have instead of what they lack, the noise of discontent slowly fades. Gratitude becomes a gentle whisper reminding you that no storm lasts forever, and no night is without stars if you are willing to look up. Peace does not come from perfect circumstances. It comes from a perfect focus. Many spend their lives waiting for peace to arrive once life becomes easier, but peace is not the product of ease. It is the product of perspective. Gratitude teaches you to look at the same situation through new eyes. The problem may not change, but your understanding of it does. A grateful heart sees lessons where others see loss, growth where others see pain, and opportunity where others see endings. In this transformation of sight lies the foundation of inner calm. Gratitude takes the mind off the weight of the world and places it upon the wonders that still exist within it. The grateful soul walks through life with quiet confidence because it has learned that peace is not a destination but a posture. It is the ability to remain calm in the presence of chaos, to be still while everything around you moves. Gratitude anchors you in the present moment. It reminds you that this breath, this second, this heartbeat is enough. Many people chase after what they do not have, believing it will bring them peace, but the chase itself creates turmoil. Gratitude ends the chase. It allows you to rest in what is, and in that rest, you find tranquility. A heart that gives thanks ceases to struggle for control and instead finds freedom and acceptance. In gratitude, the battle between desire and satisfaction comes to an end. The constant craving for more quiets down, replaced by appreciation for the blessings already in hand. This is why gratitude is the root of peace. It silences the endless comparisons, the envy, the dissatisfaction that keeps so many minds unsettled. When a person begins to see their life as a gift, they no longer measure themselves by what others possess. They no longer feel robbed by fate or shortchanged by time. They realize that even the smallest kindness, the simplest joy, the briefest smile holds enough beauty to fill a day with meaning. In that realization, peace begins to flow like a gentle river through the soul. Gratitude reshapes not only how we view life, but how we experience it. It softens the heart and makes it receptive to joy. It calms the thoughts that once raced uncontrollably through the mind. It builds a quiet strength that enables a person to stand firm when everything around them shakes. Gratitude does not blind you to pain. It gives you the courage to face it without losing yourself. It teaches you that you can hold both sorrow and peace in the same heart, that even in tears there can be thankfulness for the lesson they bring. Such a heart cannot be easily disturbed. It has learned that true peace is not the absence of trouble, but the presence of gratitude. When gratitude becomes a way of life, peace ceases to be fragile. It no longer depends on circumstances, but flows steadily from within. A person rooted in gratitude is no longer swayed by the winds of change, for their peace is anchored in appreciation, not possession. They find calm in the simple act of being alive, in the awareness that life itself is the greatest gift of all. Each sunrise is a silent reminder that they have been given another chance to live, to love, to try again. In this realization, the heart finds its home. Gratitude builds the walls, peace fills the rooms, and together they create a dwelling where the soul can finally rest. Your mind shapes your morning long before your body leaves the bed. The first thoughts that enter your consciousness as the day begins set the tone for everything that follows. If your mind awakens to gratitude, you rise with calmness and strength. But if it wakes to complaint or fear, the entire day becomes tinted with unease. The morning is not just a time of day, it is a sacred window through which your inner world meets the outer one. Each thought you allow to pass through that window becomes a seed planted in the soil of your day. A peaceful mind will plant peace, and an anxious mind will plant confusion. This is why the moment between sleep and wakefulness is so powerful. It decides whether your day begins with harmony or hostility. Every morning, your mind is like a blank canvas waiting to be painted upon. What you choose to think becomes the color that fills your world. If you wake thinking of burdens, you paint your life in dull shades of gray. But if you wake thinking of blessings, you color it with light. People often underestimate the influence of their morning thoughts, yet they carry more weight than hours of effort. Your actions follow your mindset, and your mindset is born the moment your eyes open. The mind that greets the morning with gratitude begins to attract peace, opportunity, and clarity. The one that greets it with resentment prepares a day filled with obstacles that might not have existed at all except in perception. The difference lies not in the circumstances themselves, but in the way the mind chooses to interpret them. When the first light of morning touches your room, it is not just the sun that rises, it is your spirit's opportunity to rise as well. But the spirit can only ascend where the mind allows. If your thoughts are heavy with yesterday's regrets, they anchor your heart to the past and dim the brightness of the present. Each morning is a quiet invitation to let go, to release the weight of what can no longer be changed, and to focus instead on what can be created today. The mind that understands this truth begins each day anew, unburdened and receptive to life's possibilities. Morning is not the time to recall what went wrong, but to imagine what can go right. It is the mental rebirth that gives birth to a better day. The first hour of your morning holds a quiet authority over all the hours that follow. What you do with it often determines whether your day flows with ease or stumbles with frustration. A calm and intentional beginning creates a pattern of stability that your mind naturally follows. This is why people who start their day with mindful reflection, prayer, or gratitude tend to carry a quiet strength that endures even in chaos. The way you frame your morning becomes the way you frame your life. If you allow negativity to lead, your mind will seek out more of it. But if you begin with peace, your mind will find reasons to stay peaceful. The mind obeys the tone you set when the day begins, and once that tone is established, it rarely breaks unless you choose to change it consciously. Every morning, the mind stands at a crossroads. Down one path lies reaction, immediate, impulsive, and unguarded. Down the other lies reflection, deliberate, patient, and wise. Most people rush into their mornings without realizing they have a choice. They react to alarms, to messages, to memories, and their day becomes a continuation of yesterday's noise. But those who pause to shape their morning with intention take control of their reality. They do not let the world dictate their emotions. They instruct their emotions on how to respond to the world. Such mastery is not born overnight. It comes from practice, from repeatedly choosing the higher thought until it becomes a natural rhythm of being. The mind that begins its morning with vision and purpose becomes a compass for the entire day. It doesn't drift aimlessly between distractions because it knows where it is headed. A morning grounded in purpose turns ordinary hours into meaningful steps toward growth. Thoughts of gratitude open the heart, thoughts of purpose direct the will. Together, they create harmony, a balance between being content with what you have and striving for what you can become. When your first thoughts each morning are filled with appreciation and direction, the challenges of the day no longer intimidate you. They become opportunities to apply your strength, reminders of how much power lies in a focused mind. A person who learns to master their morning learns to master their life. For every sunrise is a chance to reset the inner world before the outer world begins its demands. Your mind is the architect, and your morning is its blueprint. If the design is filled with clarity, thankfulness, and peace, the structure of your day will stand firm against whatever winds may blow. The quality of your thoughts in the morning silently builds the quality of your life. The way you think when you wake up determines not only how you move through the day, but how you experience existence itself. The morning mind is the beginning of destiny. Gratitude multiplies blessings because it changes the way the heart perceives the world. When a person begins to truly appreciate what they already have, life seems to unfold with more generosity. Gratitude acts as a lens that magnifies the good and softens the difficult. It teaches the mind to focus not on what is missing, but on what has been given. This shift in attention awakens unseen abundance. The moment you begin to notice the small blessings, your breath, the roof over your head, the people who care for you, you start to realize how rich you already are. Life responds to such recognition by offering more reasons to be thankful. It is as though gratitude opens invisible doors through which new blessings quietly enter, unnoticed by the ungrateful but clear to those whose eyes have learned to see. There is a quiet law woven into the fabric of existence. What you acknowledge with appreciation tends to expand. A grateful mind attracts more goodness because it is tuned to it. Just as a magnet draws what aligns with its field, a thankful heart draws circumstances that match its vibration. When you constantly dwell on lack, you strengthen it. When you focus on abundance, you multiply it. Gratitude is not wishful thinking. It is the practice of aligning your inner world with the frequency of growth and joy. The universe, life, or whatever one chooses to call it, seems to favor those who walk with appreciation, for gratitude is the language of harmony. It communicates that you are ready to receive, that you recognize the gift of being alive, and that you do not take it for granted. Many people spend their lives waiting for more before they begin to feel grateful, unaware that this very attitude blocks the flow of blessings. Gratitude works in the opposite direction. It invites abundance by celebrating the present. When you give thanks for what little you have, you elevate it. You make it more valuable through awareness. The person who appreciates a simple meal eats like royalty because their heart is satisfied. The one who scorns a feast walks away hungry. Gratitude multiplies blessings because it transforms the quality of experience. It does not necessarily add more to your life outwardly, but it deepens your ability to see how much you already possess. In that awareness, what was once considered small becomes vast, and what seemed ordinary becomes sacred. Gratitude also multiplies blessings because it changes the way we treat them. When you value what you have, you take care of it. You nurture it. You give it attention, and in doing so, it grows. A person who appreciates their health makes choices that preserve it. A person who cherishes their relationships communicates with kindness and patience. A person who respects their opportunities uses them wisely. Through gratitude, everything in life receives the nourishment it needs to flourish. Neglect is born of ingratitude, abundance is born of care. When gratitude fills your actions, blessings are not only multiplied but sustained, for they find in you a trustworthy guardian who does not waste what has been given. A grateful person begins to see blessings even in disguise. What once appeared as loss starts to reveal hidden value. Difficulties become teachers, failures become foundations, and delays become preparation. Gratitude transforms not only what is pleasant but also what is painful, turning both into instruments of growth. This transformation multiplies blessings because it ensures that nothing in life is wasted. Every experience, joyful or sorrowful, becomes part of the tapestry of wisdom. Gratitude gives meaning to everything, and when life becomes meaningful, even the smallest blessing shines brighter. The grateful soul is never poor because it has learned to extract gold from the dust of existence. There is also a mysterious reciprocity in gratitude. When you express it, whether in prayer, word, or action, it returns to you in multiplied form. To thank someone sincerely is to plant a seed of goodwill in their heart. To thank life for its gifts is to attract its favor again. The more you appreciate others, the more they are inclined to give. The more you appreciate your circumstances, the more you begin to notice opportunities you previously overlooked. Gratitude opens the eyes to hidden possibilities. It reveals how much is already within reach, waiting only for acknowledgement. It does not create blessings from thin air. It reveals that they were there all along, unnoticed until your heart was ready to see them. When gratitude becomes a natural response rather than an occasional reaction, blessings seem to pour into life effortlessly. You begin to notice beauty in what you once ignored, peace in what you once resisted, and joy in what you once rushed through. Each thankful thought becomes a mirror reflecting more goodness back to you. The simple act of giving thanks reshapes the energy of your existence. It reminds you that life was never stingy with its gifts. It was only waiting for you to look around and realize how much you have already been given. The secret lies in awareness, for it is the silent force that gives depth to every experience and meaning to every breath. Most people move through their days half awake, seeing but not truly perceiving, hearing but not truly listening. They walk through beauty as though it were invisible, rushing from one demand to the next, without ever pausing to notice the miracle of simply being alive. Awareness is what transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It is the light that reveals what has always been there but was hidden beneath distraction. When the mind becomes aware, life begins to unfold in greater color, greater depth, and greater peace. Awareness is the gateway to gratitude, and gratitude is the pathway to joy. Without awareness, even the greatest blessings remain unnoticed. The sunrise becomes routine, the laughter of loved ones becomes background noise, the comfort of shelter and the taste of food become taken for granted. Life does not lose its beauty, our awareness of it fades. Awareness restores the sacredness of the present moment. It brings you face to face with the truth that peace is not something to be found elsewhere, but something to be awakened within. When a person becomes aware, they stop searching for happiness in distant places and begin to see that it was quietly resting in the details of their current existence all along. Awareness teaches that the miracle is not in having more, but in seeing more deeply. Awareness is not a sudden revelation, it is a discipline of the mind. It is choosing again and again to be present rather than lost in memories or anxieties. The mind that drifts into yesterday relives old wounds, the mind that rushes into tomorrow fabricates new fears. Awareness anchors the soul in now. the only moment that truly exists. It invites you to notice the rhythm of your breathing, the warmth of sunlight, the sound of your own heartbeat. It reminds you that you are part of something vast and living. Every small act of awareness pulls you out of unconscious repetition and into conscious appreciation. It is the difference between existing and truly living. When awareness is cultivated, the way you experience challenges begins to change. You start to see that most suffering is magnified not by events themselves, but by the lack of awareness in how you respond to them. Awareness allows you to pause before reacting, to see emotion without becoming consumed by it, and to find meaning in what once felt meaningless. It reveals that even pain carries lessons, even endings carry beginnings. Awareness becomes a lantern in the dark corridors of the mind, guiding you gently through the storm without letting the storm define you. It allows you to stand still amid chaos and observe without losing yourself in it. Through awareness, you begin to understand that peace does not depend on changing external conditions, but on perceiving them differently. You could live in comfort and still feel restless, or live with very little and still feel rich. The difference lies in awareness. It sharpens your sensitivity to life's subtle gifts, the kindness of a stranger, the quiet resilience of nature, the patience in your own heart. When you are aware, life stops being something to survive and becomes something to experience. Awareness replaces complaint with curiosity and curiosity with wonder. It transforms each day into a living meditation, where even the smallest detail holds meaning if you are willing to look closely enough. Awareness deepens relationships because it brings presence into connection. When you are fully aware, you listen not just to respond but to understand. You look at others not as obstacles or instruments, but as souls sharing the same breath of existence. Most conflicts in life arise not from difference but from the absence of awareness. The failure to see the other person as human, the failure to pause before judgment. Awareness dissolves such blindness. It opens the eyes to empathy, the ears to compassion, and the heart to humility. It reminds you that every person you meet is fighting a battle unseen, and that awareness of this truth softens how you speak, act, and love. In awareness, gratitude finds its home. You begin to thank life not just for its gifts, but for its lessons. You recognize the divine rhythm in both joy and difficulty, the silent intelligence guiding each step even when you do not understand it. Awareness teaches you to stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this showing me?" The moment you begin to live with that kind of consciousness, everything becomes meaningful. Every sunrise, every conversation, every quiet moment alone becomes part of a larger harmony. Awareness turns the mundane into sacred ritual, the passing instant into timeless truth. Awareness is the secret because it holds the key to transformation without requiring anything external to change. When you awaken to awareness, you awaken to life itself. You start to see how deeply connected everything is, your thoughts to your emotions to your reality to your awareness. The mind becomes clearer, the heart lighter, and the soul quieter. Awareness is not something you gain, it is something you uncover, something that was always within you, waiting to be recognized. It is the silent witness behind every thought, the still observer behind every experience, and the gentle reminder that life's beauty has always been here, waiting only for you to notice it. Gratitude creates strength because it shifts the heart's focus from what has been lost to what still remains. In times of hardship, when life feels uncertain and the weight of disappointment presses upon the spirit, gratitude becomes an anchor that keeps the soul from drifting into despair. It reminds you that even amid pain, there is still something worth holding on to: breath, hope, love, faith. Gratitude gives you the ability to stand firm in storms that would otherwise break you. It doesn't deny the difficulty of life. It simply refuses to let difficulty define life. When you give thanks in the midst of trial, you discover that strength is not the absence of struggle, but the courage to endure it with grace. When you practice gratitude consistently, your perspective on adversity begins to transform. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What can this teach me?" Gratitude turns pain into purpose, setbacks into stepping stones. It allows you to extract wisdom from what once felt unbearable. Every hardship carries a hidden lesson, and gratitude opens your eyes to see it. Those who are ungrateful grow bitter when life becomes difficult. Those who are grateful grow wiser. Gratitude makes you resilient because it gives meaning to what you endure. It teaches you that even suffering can be sacred when it deepens your understanding and enlarges your heart. Strength is born in the moments when you choose to thank life instead of cursing it. Gratitude also strengthens the mind by reshaping its thought patterns. When the mind constantly focuses on lack, it weakens itself with worry and fear. But when it turns its attention to what is good, stable, and enduring, it gathers energy and clarity. The grateful person sees possibilities where others see impossibilities. They draw power from appreciation, which becomes fuel for persistence. Gratitude feeds optimism, and optimism fuels endurance. The mind that has learned to appreciate the smallest blessing can survive the greatest burden, for it has trained itself to find light in darkness. Gratitude becomes the mental armor that guards against hopelessness, the quiet assurance that no matter what happens, life still holds something worth cherishing. There is a calm power in those who live with gratitude. They are not easily shaken by loss, nor are they consumed by fear of the future. Gratitude grounds them in the present, where strength naturally resides. Fear thrives in the unknown, but gratitude reminds the heart of what is already known. The good that still exists, the people who still care, the moments that still matter. It draws attention back to the certainties that endure when everything else shifts. In doing so, it prevents the heart from collapsing under uncertainty. Gratitude does not eliminate hardship, it steadies the soul through it. The grateful person becomes like a tree whose roots dig deeper when the winds blow harder. Gratitude strengthens not only the individual but also their relationships with others. When you are grateful, you treat people with kindness and patience. You value their presence rather than take it for granted. This creates a circle of support that becomes a source of strength in itself. Gratitude softens the ego and allows humility to grow, and humility keeps relationships alive even through misunderstanding or distance. A person who lives in gratitude does not isolate themselves when faced with difficulty. They reach out, they appreciate, they give. Through gratitude, connection deepens, and through connection, the spirit finds renewed endurance. Gratitude turns loneliness into companionship and burden into shared resilience. Gratitude creates emotional strength by transforming the way the heart processes pain. Instead of allowing sorrow to harden it, gratitude keeps it open. It allows tears to flow without bitterness and hope to exist without denial. It makes room for both grief and peace to coexist within the same heart. When gratitude is present, pain does not destroy, it refines. It polishes the soul like fire purifies gold. It teaches endurance without resentment, acceptance without defeat. Those who carry gratitude through their darkest hours emerge not weaker, but wiser, not broken, but more compassionate. Gratitude takes the sharp edges of pain and shapes them into instruments of understanding and mercy. Gratitude strengthens faith in the unseen order of life. It reminds you that even when things fall apart, there is still purpose unfolding beneath the surface. Gratitude teaches trust that no experience is wasted, that no tear goes unnoticed, that even the hardest path can lead somewhere beautiful. It reinforces the belief that goodness is not gone from the world, even when it feels distant. In this trust, you find unshakable strength, the kind that does not depend on outcomes but on awareness. Gratitude allows you to walk through uncertainty with steady steps, to meet challenges with quiet courage, and to face each day not with